Hey everybody, this is John from Purple Sorcerer Games, and I just wanted to give a very brief overview of some of the changes in the new version, the HTML version of the Crawler's Companion. This new version was necessary because the old tools used to build the crawler are no longer supported or even work. And I also would want to do anything like gnaw my leg off to get out of having to post to the app stores. And so the HTML version was the answer. You can just load it up in your web browser. On your mobile devices, you can, most of them you can like save to your desktop. And from that point on, it will act basically exactly like a native app. So it has just tons of advantages for me. It's so much easier to work on and publish. So it's going to be fantastic. Now, of course, it is a work in progress, and so there will be a few bumps along the way, but I think that everyone will hopefully find it very valuable and can continue to be a valuable tool. The crawler can be in 1, 2, or 3 screens, depending on its size. It'll automatically adapt. If I go down here, it shows this is like the 1-screen version of the crawler, the 2-screen, and the 3-screen. And you can, on your desktop, you can move it around to find just the perfect resolution for your computer, and obviously it'll be just by the specs of your phone or tablet will determine what it looks like there. The major changes are because it's now an HTML version. There were some changes that had to be made because of the way things work in that system. So one thing is that now, instead of when you can click on any die to get rid of it once it's on the screen, you used to be able to click on the 20 die and it would get rid of all the dice at a time. Now you can roll the dice just by tapping on them. You can also swipe like before on a touch device. But now, since that tap now does a dice roll, I had to move some of those functionality from down here up onto here. So if you want to get rid of all the dice now, you just go click on the X and it will remove them. If you want to lock a die to like the D20, you just go up here and you can select which ones you want. So now if I roll the D20, then there you go. Also, you might be able to tell from some of the sounds it's making is like my daughter and I, who actually went through and rolled and recorded all the different dice, and there's multiple sounds for every single die. So now it should be a much less repetitive kind of sound for the dice rolling, and a die 4 sounds different than a die 30. Let's just try that. There's a die 4. There's a die 30. If you don't want sound, of course, you can always go up in here and turn the sound off. One thing also is, like with that lock die feature, you can now change the lock die or add additional dice. So say now you're a halfling and you're using a die 16 in your two-handed weapon ones, and now you want this to be the one it's locked to. Now that die 4 will lock when you roll the die 16, which is cool. And you can make that be die 16, die 20, 24, or 30, which is kind of cool. Other changes in the options, it's pretty similar. You can increase the size of your roll results, your spell results, and help results, or the size of like the spell lists and things like that individually. Let's see if there's that was pretty much the only change inside of there. One other change about the new version of the crawler is that I've moved some of the menus from the kind of like the sub menus from the top of individual screens, so they have their own buttons. So now we have a batch die roller has its own. The battle manager, when it's working, will have its own. Otherwise, they're basically the same. We have the DCC library. The generators, one really cool thing about the generators is now they're going out and they're just they're hitting the generators on my website. So it makes it super easy for me to add them all in. So it makes it a lot easier for me to add in different occupation lists, and if I come up with new generators like the cool monster generator I hope to make, we can add some of those features right into the crawler, which is kind of cool. They work just like before. You hit them and they go out and they get the stuff. You can read it from here, and then if you hit copy share on something like that, then that goes into like the notes section. The stream, if you noticed over here, when you're in 3-layer mode, you can have that live stream be here, but it's also inside the notes section. And so that's that live stream of information. To add stuff to the stream, a lot of it can happen automatically. Like if you go in and I roll like a critical result, then you go back in, then that crit is automatically be added. If you want to add something to the stream by typing, and this is because of like how weird it is to get this to work on all the different kinds of devices, then you can just type in a message onto here or whatever you want, and then hit Q to stream, and now it goes in there. And then also you have a tab where you can just add notes for your adventure. Then we have the spells and the criticals and the fumbles, and they should act basically just as before, other than we have the new sliders replacing the buttons and stuff to work with all the different web devices and mobile devices. But actually I really kind of like these sliders. It makes it really easy to get to all the settings you want. We have in the spell one, you can click on and have individual casters. You change their names here, and then like all the settings will change. All these other settings will change based on your caster. Other than that, I think those things are pretty darn similar. One new feature is that when you roll a spell, well, you can click on the information and it'll bring up the spell description, and then you can click on the lightning bolt and cast it right from the spell description. You can also, from when you cast result, you can also click on and get to the description from the spell result one, so you can, it's easy to get back and forth between those things. It's also just, you know, easy to create your favorite spells, and they show up in here, and all those are individually unique for each one of the casters. Of course, you can change between lookup mode, where you just roll yourself, or it does the rolling for you. We have the help icon, and now the help is much more extensive in this version of the crawler. You can actually do it by, it automatically opens up. So when I'm on spell and you click help, it opens up in all the spell things. If you're in the fumble one, then it'll open up with the fumbles. You can click on all, and then when you click on a help item, then you can just continue cycle through all the help for the program. And some of this is already out of date because the program is changing as we go along, as I add new things, but I'll try to keep this updated, and it actually is a really good resource now. I've done quite a bit of work updating the help for everybody. Other than that, now if you're on a mobile device, you're definitely going to want to, most of them have something where you can like save to desktop or save to home or something like that inside your web browser. That's definitely something you probably want to do, because when you do that, then it'll save an icon on your desktop. When you click on that, then the app will open up in full screen, and it basically in every way, it looks exactly like a native app. You don't have to, there's no menu bars or anything like that. And that's definitely the way to go. It also saves all the information locally on your device, so that's why you can turn off your. You don't have to have internet connection for it to work. Other than the generators, since they're hitting the web versions of the generators now, you'd always have to have internet access to hit those. But everything else after that first load, then you're good to go. If you have a really slow connection, you might get a little bit of a glitchy thing when you first load the program. Just hit refresh again, and then it'll almost certainly get everything loaded correctly, and then you're good to go. If you have a reasonably fast connection, then that shouldn't be a problem. But other than that, those are the major changes in the new version. I'm really excited about it because it makes it so much easier for me to be able to update the program. So much easier to add new features, to do bug fixes. There's no middleman. It's just stuff on my server. Now, during this period where I'm making significant changes while we're first starting to use it, then I'll probably be doing stuff behind the scenes so that when you reload the program, it'll actually basically be an entirely new folder, because it'll force everything to reload. Because one side effect of when the way it caches the data, so you don't need to have an online connection to be able to use the program, it can sometimes be a little difficult to get the program to let go of the data, even though there's new stuff. And you have to go in and you have to delete more than just the cache. You have to delete the data. It can be kind of a pain. So there might be things where I'm gonna, you're gonna want to go on fairly frequently, even like if you save on your desktop, to delete that, reload the program until we get everything stabilized out. Because there will be a lot of changes coming. But I hope everyone loves the new version of the Crawler's Companion. I'm excited about it. Yeah, the major work is trying to get the battle manager up and running, but everything else should be working pretty well and pretty stably. And of course, if you see strangeness, let me know. But thanks so much, everybody, and happy gaming.